Okay, Norman's licking my leg. Welcome y'all to the 13th episode, an episode of
14th?
the 14th, 13th, 14th, 14th episode of the Anti-Filter podcast, a podcast for the mentally ill, the criminally insane, the neurodivergent, the disabled, the girls, the gays, the theys. I'm your host, Alison.
And I'm your host, Shannon.
And today we have a bunch of shit. We're
We
gonna
do.
do we're gonna do a weekly catch up, but honestly, we're kind of just fucking around as of late, and I wrote a bunch of shit in the notes at like 7 a.m.
Same.
And what I will say is that my vaginal cyst, she has made a comeback.
Oh no. I didn't know that she had an origin story.
Well, here's the thing. On a super unrelated note, okay, I fornicated with a man who I thought was a savant 2.5 years ago,
Correct.
approximately July 6th, 2022. He was quite young, and I was working in a restaurant years earlier. I met him when he was there. He was also like trying to be in recovery, and I was in a relationship. But years later, we met. He used to always tell me, he'd be like, "Oh, my kink is making girls come." Red flag whenever somebody says that, because no,
Run.
you don't. Anyway, the situation unrelated to the vaginal cyst is that I had sex with him once 2.5 years ago, and now my vagina smells like dirty cat litter. So it's a good thing. I wasn't going to say that on the podcast. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, because I did go to my doctor. I spread my legs. I said, "Can you smell me? Because something's not sitting right with me when I sit on the toilet," and I waffed, you know? And she was like, "No, everything smells fine." I think Dr. Fundamensky lied to me about that one. I could be wrong, but that just goes to show, you fuck a dusty, musty, crusty man one time and 2.5 years later, your pussy still stinks. It's a good thing I'm not having sex. The vaginal cyst, however, I did go to see her like 2 weeks ago, and I think sometimes I'll be just wiping too hard,
Yeah.
that or furiously masturbating. Anyway, I went and wiped myself this morning, and I was like, I don't know if you've seen Harry Potter. I think in the fifth movie, Order of the Phoenix, Voldemort comes back, and then what the fuck is that man? The Minister of Magic goes, "He's back."
Oh, yes. I
Yeah,
do.
that was
Yes.
the moment I had this morning when I felt the vaginal cyst just make a comeback. She was gone for like 3 days. She popped back up.
That sounds so painful. Like,
It is painful. It really hurts. Not as painful as me almost getting murdered yesterday. I was driving to the gym, as I do, and I saw on the road, surprisingly, on the side of the highway, which you never see in Canada. Sometimes you'll see people that are just like going batshit insane on the side of the highway. But yesterday I was driving. I saw two white men, mid to late 20s, no bags, no nothing, no car on the side of the road, fucking hitchhiking. And I thought, those poor guys, maybe I should stop. Maybe I should stop. Maybe I should stop and get them in the car. Maybe they need help. And then I thought, well, they're white men, so let's not become the subject of a Netflix serial killer documentary,
yeah, that was a good call on your end.
because that is truly the reality of being a woman. Like, someone stopped me and asked me for directions, I don't know, like a month or two ago, and it kind of just like clicked for me when I was in the car. That because I was like, no, like, I don't know. I don't know where this is. I don't know. I'm not from here. And just walked away, because like you see it happen all the time. Well, and like I was watching a video though. Okay, this is so ADHD. I'm going to say this, then I'm going to shut the fuck up. But I was watching a video, and it was these two girly pops. They were walking along the road. This guy stops. One of them gets out of the car, grabs the girl, goes to put her in the trunk. And the other guy gets out to help. And the other girly pop goes into the front of the car with her friend in the trunk and drives away and steals their car.
I'm so dead, but like valid.
No, and as they should. I don't know what they did with the car afterwards, but I love that energy.
I would have driven right to the police station and say, I stole this vehicle. My friend is in the trunk because some man put her in there.
Oh, see, you know what? I love that for you, because you're thinking ahead. I'm thinking sell the car for profit.
No, because like honestly, I listen to way too many serial killer documentaries. I am that girl. I am that true crime girly. And I was talking to like some disgusting man. I don't know. It was like in person. It
It's
was like
always a disgusting
it
man.
was in person, and he was making the claim. He was like, I don't understand why like women always listen to that stuff. Like it's so morbid. The da 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 da. Da. And I was like, probably because like historically speaking, women like we gossip like that. Like we like men would hunt and gather, and we would sit back, talk to the girls, and pick our berries, and we'd be like, hey, bitch. Don't eat that fucking berry. It'll give you diarrhea. And she was like, Slay Queen, thank you so much for letting me and my family know so we don't die of diarrheal disease or however you pronounce it. And because back then diarrhea was killing motherfuckers. Y'all don't realize back then diarrhea like would kill you. But
Diarrhea almost killed me one time.
no, actually like same. There's been so many times where like for days on end, like I just a shell of a human being because I have no water. But
No. Diarrhea actually almost killed me though. When I was
like
No. I had E. coli and I was shitting 60 to 80 times a day every day for 3 months. And I went to the hospital and almost died of grade 3 dehydration. I literally was looking like Bella Hadid. I lost so much weight. I looked so slay. I was Pilates princess. And then they put me on fluids and my face swelled up. It was gigantic. And then they wanted to give me a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. I don't know if you've ever gotten that. I have
I have
gotten it twice. When I got it the first time, oh, bitch, I can taste it right now. They made me drink 4 liters of this fucking disgusting ass shit. But when I was in Ecuador, they just shoved a water bottle up my ass or something, squeezed it. They douched me, the shit came out. That's what I do every morning or right before I go to the gym. I use my little tushy. I shoot water out my ass. It dislodges all the fecal matter, and then I go to the gym.
it's one way to do it. That's for sure.
It is. Well, at least I'm not giving myself a fucking coffee enema and telling everybody about how the carnivore diet and eating like a whole brick of butter every single day saved my life.
I will say, this whole carnivore diet shit has got me pissed the fuck off. I don't think y'all understand like the suffering I've gone through for the last 8 years. Cutting out macros is just not the move. And y'all always love to cut out carbs.
Why?
I don't know who taught you that carbs were the devil, but
Also, no, because here's the thing. Fat is so much more calorically dense than carbs, so you can eat like significantly more carbs for the same
yep.
amount of calories.
You
And like
also like fat is like immediately stored in your body as like fat. Like it's what your body uses immediately. So like not immediately, I should say. Like carbs are obviously what you use immediately, but like fat senses like your body runs through it really quick. It burns through it really fast.
well the
Like
thing
when you're digesting, it's got like a very low TEF, which essentially is like the macros it takes to break something down, digest it, and metabolically like put it into your body. And like basically you eat like something like fat. That's why like if you eat a bunch of candy, you feel really full at first, but then like maybe an hour goes by and you're like, I'm starving again. It's because your body literally like right through it.
Well, the thing too that pisses me off about the carnivore diet is they say, people are being like, well, it burns fat. The thing about fat burning, okay,
Mhm.
fat burning is very different than fat loss.
Yep.
And I was talking about, I actually made a video about like OxyShred about fat burners.
Yep.
It's funny, I bought OxyShred because of Bristol Dempsey.
Okay. Yeah.
And she used to promote it. Now she knows better, and thank God. I remember when she decided to like leave um EPS, is it? EPS Labs, whatever the fuck, whoever makes OxyShred. And I was like, thank God. Because I remember very vividly too, like researching it after I saw it and researching it, aka going to TikTok University. And I remember seeing somebody who very clearly was at the beginning or like the end of a bulk stage, the beginning of a bodybuilding prep or a cut, and then at the end of the cut or their prep, and being like, OxyShred did this, and I sweat so much. And here's the thing: fat burning, like fat burners can be great because fat burning means your fat is burning and it's giving you extra energy. It doesn't mean that the fat is melting off your body. So if you're in a caloric deficit, you're not going to have as much energy because you are consuming less than you're expending on a daily basis. So it's going to leave you feeling more tired. If you're burning fat, then it's giving you more energy. It doesn't mean that the fat is fucking melting off your body, bitch.
Well, and I think the other thing too is a fat burner, right? Typically, it uses a couple of different compounds. One of which being a thermodynamic compound, like a thermogenesis compound. So it
Yep.
essentially raises your body temperature. It basically forces your body to burn more calories at resting than you would not taking it. So
Hmm.
by playing around with factors of like body temperature and forcing yourself to sweat more,
Yeah.
increasing heart rate by having things like caffeine in it, all of that, all it's going to do is just increase your resting burn. That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and in a way, it helps a lot of people lose weight, right? But you have to factor in the fact that it's really just raising your caloric intake that you burn naturally. So if you're still in a deficit, you're burning more calories than you would without it. If you're in a surplus, it's not going to do anything because you're not in a deficit. Like it might
Yeah.
put you in a slight deficit or put you like lower than what your actual surplus should be,
Yeah.
but it's that's all it's doing is playing
Yeah.
around with your like metabolic system in order to like burn more calories. That's it.
Well, it's funny because this morning I woke up to a comment of a video that I made, and I was like, when you're fighting the demons in the gym, but you have to go. Like, two things. One, a lot of people don't understand that in order to build muscle, you have to bulk, right? You have to
Right.
put on fat, you have to get fluffy. And you and I have, I think, around the same body fat percentage, 26%,
Yeah.
right? And we have muscle underneath, but we just need to lean out. And the thing is also, I'm tall. If I were 5 feet, I would look a lot different right now than I do at 6'1". But this guy was like, "Oh, you like for somebody who's in the gym all the time, you don't look like you're in the gym." And I'm like, "Well, you know what? Give me 5 years." And I was like, everybody has to start somewhere because I didn't feel like getting into an argument. I go to this guy's profile picture. Literally, I have more delts than him, and I have no fucking delts. First of all, second of
Yeah.
all, I did comment that, and he was like, "Oh, it wasn't meant for you, bitch." No one else was commenting on my video other than me from my other accounts to boost engagement. Like literally, I
Also,
was
it's not like
like,
you're in a video of a group of people. It's like literally just you.
"No, I this was like,
Like who was it meant for then, babe?
no, men are, you know what? They need to be stopped." But what I will say, they are very weird. The way in
Yes.
which I messaged you last night,
I was
and
asleep.
and I was howling, screaming, dying, shitting myself laughing because the way that and I'm not going to say the other half of it because I don't know if they listen to this podcast. They probably don't. But earlier this week, this guy messaged me, and I guess I had like burped or farted in a video like on Instagram, and he was like, "It's so weird how guys like that, eh?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's so weird. Do you want a video of that?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm not really
Maybe.
into
I
that.
mean,
I'm not really into that, but sure, for $50." So I took a video.
gives you a price.
Oh no, I didn't. I gave him. So I'm in the shower and I just like farted. You can barely even hear that it's a fart. I love sex work. I literally take a video of my face looking ugly as fuck. Like it's not sexual. It's literally my face going like that. 2 second video, $50 of me farting in the shower. Then the next day, I was like, "Yeah, I've had a lot of protein." He was like, "Okay." So I go to, I am like sitting in the bath, wafting the fucking salt into my fucking vaginal orifices, trying to get out the fucking, the vaginal cyst, trying to heal Miss Girl. I don't know what happened, but the camera blacked out or something. Uh Almost gave free feet. That was so close. Oh my god, I need to.
Can't
No,
be
I
doing all that.
can't be doing all that. Oh, as I was saying, I was using Epsom salts on my vaginal cyst. I was in the fucking to bathtub, and I was like, well, I need to fart, and then I was like, gotta monetize this. Took a video of the feet, and me just farting the most brutal fart. $80, sent it off,
Yeah.
bought it last night. I took a video of myself. I got in trouble once again on social media for promoting it, but like covering myself and but whatever, fuck. Anyway, I was like, I messaged this guy, and I was like, I'm not gonna say part of this, but but I did. But I did at like 11 o'clock at night send him a video of me farting for $150, and I was like, as he should, as he must, as he will. Like I need money because my mom did message me the other day, and it was like it was a very beautiful moment for me because she literally has been helping me financially, emotionally, spiritually all my fucking life. And she was like, "Hey, this is how much my mortgage is. I think that if you could give me $500 a month, like it would really help me." be less stressed. Do you think that's something you can do? And like, if not, that's totally cool. And I was like, fuck yeah, $500 a month. Fuck yeah, I can do that. So these guys are like, oh, it's expensive. And I'm like, well, I got to pay mama's mortgage. So we got to do it somehow. Sorry, bestie.
Well, and I think the other thing too is, like I said, like, I know we were talking about this, like, motherfuckers are weird, just weird as shit. And when you're a woman living in this world
Economy.
and society and this economy, right? So one of the things that I actually was doing research on my own, because I find it very, like, I find the psychology of specific forms of sex work very interesting, in the sense of like why it works, right?
Yeah.
And as women, we live in a society that completely objectifies everything we do. Okay, like inherently a fart is not sexy, but when you're a woman and viewed as an object and viewed as a whole only for fucking, everything you do is sexual. Everything you do in like in their eyes is going to turn them on. And when you're working in sex work, obviously you get a lot of hate from either men who are the ones who keep your pockets full with
Yeah.
like, talk to your homeboys, tell them to get it together. Or you get women who are like, you know, basically internalized patriarchy. And I've said to the end of time, like, if you're a woman hating on sex work, most likely either there's a lot of internalized patriarchy going on there. Tell me about it, Bubs. I don't know if you heard him, he just cried. But like there's a lot of internalized patriarchy going on there, or like the reality of it is like sex work is not for everybody. Like you have to have a specific personality, you've got to have a specific strength to you. Like there's just a lot you have to do.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of like prepare yourself for that. But motherfuckers be asking for weird shit and
No,
sexualizing everything.
they do. And you know, when I first started doing it, I felt like this really extreme hatred towards it, but now I'm at a point where I don't have any more clients for fitness coaching, and I'm fine with that. Because the reality of it is I am disabled coaching people who are also disabled, who are neurodivergent, who are mentally ill. And as you know, as somebody who also is a coach and also works with people like that, like I don't know if you exclusively work with people like that. I exclusively worked with people like that. And it is the neurodivergent disabled mental illness tax that we pay as those people ourselves, but also working with those people. Because I never was able to have, I think like in total at one point I had like 11 clients. I think I was never able to really have more than that because all of the clients that I did have required a lot more work than like normal people who are coaches who give cut and paste plans, same plan to everybody, same training plan, same meal plan, and you know, just treated them as like banks where it was like, okay, well, you're not getting your shit done, like sucks to suck, whatever. Like I was like genuinely concerned about people, but it's hard too because, and I know that you're going through this as well, where you know you'd have clients or you have had clients who cancel on you because, and I've had this happen to me several times, who I've had people working with me for, you know, 6 months, 8 months, and they've just been like, you know what, like mentally I'm not in a good place, financially I'm not in a good place, I literally like it's this or therapy or it's this or rent. And every time I'm just like, because I know what I would feel like if I were them in that scenario, I'd feel so bad. And I literally have been like, you need to focus on you. I'm always here. I'm always cheering you on. If you have any questions, you can always come to me. Like the only different thing, we're still going to be sending memes. We're just not going to be having like weekly check-ins, but like I'm always here for you. I support you. I think you should definitely get therapy. I think you should definitely pay your rent. Like prioritize that. And at the end of the day, the people that I did work with, all lifestyle clients, and the whole purpose of us working together is for them to like build habits and like understand the process. And like once we've been together and we've been working together for an amount of time, like my work is done. The whole point of coaching in my eyes of the people that I coached was to get them to a place where they can do it by themselves. Financially that's not great for me, but it's great financially for them. And realistically, like that's the whole point. Like you
Yeah.
should not have to coach somebody for fucking 3 years. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, and I remember I used to say this too. Like, I actually had a client like turn best friend. Like, me and her go to raves all the time. Like, we are very, very, very close. Like, her name's Marina, and I adore the shit out of her. I also will just say, like, she has had such an insane glow up. It's actually crazy. Like, sometimes I like sit back and I'm like, I get emotional just thinking about it because I'm talking like she used to like never be in a place to like put herself out of her comfort zone.
Yeah.
And like now, like she'll like go out to like a EDM show by herself. Like she is that girl. But anywho, I remember me and her were talking about this, and I kind of already lost my train of thought. When we started trading, first off, like the minute that I met her, I was like, I adore you. So I was like, if you decide not to train, like, please, can we hang out? She signed with me and she trained with me for a whole year. And she was like, look, like, financially, like, my car is giving me problems. I want to start saving in case I need a new one. Like, not that I can't afford training, but it's an added on expense that ends up being like super, super expensive.
Yeah.
And this was at the time that I was getting paid $65 an hour for training. So
Yeah.
they were paying 65, but I was getting like 20 of that. Anywho, so she's paying like an arm and a leg, right? Like standard industry, like price for training is $35 to $40 an hour. That's like standard industry standard, whatever you want to call it, like what your time is basically worth.
Yeah.
As you go further and get more experience, like if you're been coaching for 10 years, obviously like $65 a session isn't absurd, especially if you've got like specific specifications and things like bodybuilding, or you work with a specific type of clientele. But neither here nor there. So I'm getting there. So in the beginning of us training, she was like, I really like this. I think it's establishing really good habits for me. I'm just really scared for when I leave, because I constantly always tell my clients, like, if you end up being a lifetime client, like, I would love that, like, in the sense of like you train with me for the rest of your life. I would adore that. I love getting to know my clients. I love helping my clients on more than a fitness level. Like, I adore every last one of them. I would be failing as a personal trainer if you trained with me for your whole life. Like, I think what people kind of fail to realize is, I know this applies to you as a coach as well,
Mm-hmm.
is that we're, especially being neurodivergent ourselves, we are never going to apply that extra added pressure of like this sense of like, you owe me, right? Like, you
Yeah.
could train with me for a month, and if you want to stop, you want to stop. Like, you don't owe
Yeah.
me shit. Like, you could pay me a pay in full, and like if you want to quit after like month one, like, that's fine, as long as boundaries are set and you understand like my refund policy and my cancellation policy and shit like that, and we're
Yeah.
good on a business stand. Like, there's no burnt bridge. Like, you can come to
Yeah.
me anytime. I'm always going to be in your corner. But I also think sometimes too that that kind of bites us in the ass, because I think it also
All the time.
undermines our value,
Yeah.
because you allow yourself to like be so accessible. People don't see the value in like spending the extra, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and like, hear me out. Like, I have no doubt that if I had a fitness question, or if I was struggling on one of my programs, I could come to you and be like, this has been really bothering me. Like, help
Yeah.
me out here. Like, what am I not seeing? But I also respect you very much enough to understand that,
Yeah.
like, your that kind of insight is something that like is a business for you.
Mm-hmm.
So as your friend, as a former client, as someone who respects and appreciates you, I'm not going to just, text you and immediately like be bombarding you with questions about whatever. So I think too, like, it's a double-edged sword in
Well,
that sense.
I don't mind. Well, coaching, and then something I wanted to bring up about what happened at the gym yesterday. I don't mind that. I don't mind questions about things like that. I think that what happened is, and it's funny because you and I kind of became friends, but I wanted to keep it professional mostly for our
Yeah.
like coaching, client relationship. But I remember when I like had a very full roster, full for me, and I had this one client. I love her. She we our we ended end of August, I think, and she's gone through some very like transformational shit. And a lot of people assume that transformational just applies solely to like physical appearance. It's not. That's the thing, is I've never posted before and afters because a lot of it is actually just like very internal work. But she would message me like super late at night, like 11:30. Oh, my boyfriend's doing this. This is happening. Nah, nah, nah. And I had to put down a boundary with her. And it's hard also because a lot of these people, like myself, have RSD. So they felt like rejected, upset, frustrated. And it was hard kind of like laying down that boundary. But it's interesting how you can provide so much insight to somebody for free because of the fact that it's your special interest. Like,
Yeah.
I was at the gym or not yet. Well, I was at the gym last week, and there was a guy who was in my high school, and he was there, and we were talking about social media. He's great at sales. I think he owns a house. He has a
Oh, right.
Tesla. He's very good at what he does. I don't fucking know what he does, but he has money. He makes money by selling things. We were talking about social media, and he said, people with social media who are like content creators, they're not very good at selling things, but people like me who are great at sales are not very good at content creation. So content creation for me is like a special interest. So he pretty much picked my brain, and I just sat there for like an hour and a half telling him things about like what's happened, how it works, like the best way to go about things, the reasons why I thought that I've done so well with it. And mid conversation, he said, well, I'm not doing well on social media because I can't post my ass. And I was like, well, that's not why I've done well. All the videos where I've done well is just me talking about random fucking shit. It's an original video. It's never like a replication of what somebody else has done, and it's never me like showing my ass. Those are never videos that have gone viral. So I said that to him, and I looked at his feed and I was like, well, it has nothing to do with your ass. I'm like, first of all, you never post, and two, you're boring. You're boring as shit. That's why. So anyway, I get to the gym yesterday. It's golden hour. He's outside in the back filming with his beautiful, very nice, like expensive thousands and thousands of dollars worth camera, flexing shirtless. We go inside. I come up to him later and I said, hey, how's it going? He's like, good, how are you? And I said, oh, were you filming for Instagram or what were you doing? He was like, yeah, Instagram. And I said, don't you think it's funny how you told me that girls only get famous on social media by showing their asses, but here you are completely shirtless? And he was like, well, no, it's different. And I was like, how is it different? You're topless. You're technically showing more. And he was like, well, and I was like, yeah, fuck you. Walked
Yeah.
away. I was literally, it bugged me for days because, like, I think that that's just, it's just like very like Andrew Tate ideal kind of like ideology. And I remember when he was talking to me, he was like, yeah, I'm Christian, I'm Catholic, but I don't want to have kids for another 6 years, which is why I'm dating somebody who's 22 because it's perfect. Because I'm grooming her. Because I'm grooming her. And she's not really ready to have kids yet. Yeah, she's not ready to have kids yet because you're fucking a child. But I digress.
She's
Anyway,
living
shout
this
out to
brain for
you.
a whole year. Of course, she's not ready to have kids yet. She hasn't made enough mistakes.
No, she literally just graduated high school, babe. She's not ready to have kids yet. Oh yeah. Anyway, so that was like a huge moment for me. I love like the long awaited kind of clapback, but I really the other like it was bugging me kind of all week. I having very obsessive thoughts about it, and I had to like calm myself down and talk to myself and literally do self-talk and out loud just be like, Allison, you know what? You need to be comfortable with two things. One, sometimes people are never going to get it, and two, sometimes you're going to send a message without intending on sending the message. For example, me sitting there talking to him for an hour and a half, telling him how to do social media, him in the end saying, oh my God, you should coach me. And it's like, that's the reality. Like, you're telling me that girls can't get famous on social media without showing their asses, yet here I am pretty much giving you an hour and 30-minute long monologue about how to be successful on social media. And then at the end of the day, I texted him after I got home. I said, I have a challenge for you. For the next 30 days, every single day, post a reel. Don't try to sell anybody anything, because everything you do is you just selling things. I'm like, focus on being relatable and focus on being vulnerable. And then yesterday I saw him and he was like, yeah, I'm, filming for fucking Instagram. And I was like, well, it's funny because it's been a week, you haven't posted anything. He's like, well, I'm just saving a reserve. I've got like 2 months worth of thing. And I'm like, well, the reality of it is that if you're not doing it, then you're not doing it. Like,
Yeah. I think that's the one thing too, is like you can sit here and like prep and prep and prep and prep and prep, but like until you put the action behind something, like nothing's gonna get done. Like it's just the reality on anything you do, whether it's content creation, whether it's starting your gym journey, whether it's
yep,
starting therapy and working on your mental health.
yep,
And I think that's too, like I was gonna say, I know in my like weekly check-in I added some notes and I was like, I don't know, the last 6 months I've been feeling like down bad. Like I just been feeling like not that girl. Okay. Very
yep,
not demure, very unmindful. I feel like I've had like a bit of like, I don't know if this is the right terminology. So like crucify me in the comments if you will. But like not imposter syndrome, but basically where you just don't feel like I just haven't felt there.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I haven't felt like me. I haven't felt like, and I've been like digesting and redigesting and digesting and redigesting like all this like self improvement like literature. And I think I had this kind of like realization this week of like, one, it is a very small percentage of the human population that decides to actually change. Like very, very small. Most of the people that you meet will stay exactly who they are the minute that you've met them, right?
yeah,
Like they're not looking to improve themselves. But I feel like if you are someone who starts focusing on improving yourself, it gets very easy to become addicted to it, especially if you've had addictions in the past. And I've been kind of in this addicted phase. Like I literally was on the Stairmaster for like 30 minutes reading a book, like a self, like a yes, like a self-help book, if
Self-help.
you will.
Yeah.
And um essentially it's called The Four Agreements, and it's an old book, but it basically,
Yeah. I've
God,
heard.
yes, my dog just jumped in the bed, and he hasn't been making it because his hips are not the greatest anymore.
No.
Yeah, I know, he's such a big boy. But anywho, so I was reading that, and like it basically, one of the couple of agreements that hit home for me was like basically to stop making assumptions in the sense of about other people, about how they're perceiving you, about how they feel about you, everything. Just
Yeah.
stop making fucking assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also brought me back to this other thing that I was reading, which was basically talking about how a lot of the times we will use other people to judge ourselves. So we will use other people's imaginary perceptions of us to judge ourselves. And so I think one of the reasons why shit like that, because it gets under my skin too, right? I'm like, how can you say something like that and then not see the hypocrite that you're being?
Yeah.
And it gets so underneath my skin. And you know why? It's because I actually want to fucking fix myself.
Yeah.
And a lot of these motherfuckers out here just don't. It's
I
just
think
as simple as that. Like they think everything that they do is right and fine.
I think that also, like, too, life is like very much like a mirror. And I think that all these perceptions that people have of us that are probably wrongful, where we're getting upset about it, or things that we just do want to change that we do not like about ourselves. Like, when I woke up to that comment this morning of this guy being like, "Oh, you don't even look like you train." I make that joke about myself all the time, where I'm just
Yeah.
like, I know I've been training for 3 years. I don't even look like I work out. And I saw it and immediately laughed. And then I was like, oh my God, but it is true. And I was like, well, yeah, it is true. But like, who gives a fuck? Because at the end of the day, this guy doesn't even have delts, and I can fucking lateral or raise more than he can fucking deadlift. Like, it's all, I think I've said it on this podcast before. It was something I read from an Adam Grant book. Is like, we tend to praise people who have a lot, but we don't tend to praise the people who have done so much with so little. And I think another thing too that has really shifted things for me, and it shifted things for me yesterday specifically, because I wake up every day just like filled with anxiety. And I've been doing less with content creation because I'm just scared. And I woke up yesterday and I was stressed out as fuck. And I was like, you know what? Today we're going to do all the things that we don't want to do. And we're just going to do the shit we don't want to do. We're going to get things done. And I got things done. And guess what? I felt so good. And I think it came down to something I heard, a clip from this dude's podcast, Chris Willix. I don't fucking know. He was basically saying the magic is in the work that you're avoiding.
I've been seeing that a lot lately. The synchronicities have been synchronicitying. I know we're in eclipse season, but you don't have to pop off like this.
Well, also I saw this man on fucking Raya. I also saw Julia Fox on Raya. And what I've been doing as of the past couple days is I was gonna cancel my Raya account, and then I thought, let's put that thinking cap on. Search every day, search members at Meta. I'm just clicking all
I'm
the people
so
at
dead.
Meta. I'm clicking all the people at Meta, hoping this guy yesterday at Meta, he stopped answering me though, but he was like, hey, why can't I find you on Instagram? I was like, well, my account got disabled. Anyway, how's the weather in Texas? Because I'm just hoping, I don't know, I'm like losing my fucking shit because, and that's the problem with content creation is it's there and you have it all and then it's gone. Like,
Yeah.
I wake up every day stressed out. Right now, my posts are not even being showed to my followers, and it's stressing me the fuck out. And my mom and I talked a couple days ago, and we have like a plan in place because as of right now, she's going to move back. She has a mortgage. I'm going to give her $500 a month. And when I say this, she's going to be listening to this podcast as she does all the time. She has been giving me money my whole life. $500 is like a penny on 1 million. Like, it's the smallest little bit. And it makes me so happy that I'm able to do that. That being said, she basically was like, well, what if your account's gone tomorrow? I said to her, I'm like, okay, worst thing, my account goes tomorrow. I can't pay my rent and like help things out with you. I was like, I move in with you. I help pay the mortgage. That's what we do. If that doesn't work, and for some reason, in like 5 years, 10 years, we have no money for some strange reason, then we sell the house, we move into an apartment together. If for some strange reason shit doesn't work out, I have to masturbate on the internet. Okay, don't want to do it, but I will. And if for some reason that doesn't work out, we're 15 years down the line, you're fucking decrepit and dying, I'm mentally ill, we're both broke, murder, suicide, mother-daughter murder, suicide, one and done. We have a contingency, I don't know if that's the right word, contingency plan in place. I don't think that's the right word.
I was gonna say, you know, I think one thing that I've learned in my very extremely traumatic life is that for whatever reason, right? Like no matter how bad it gets, for whatever fucking reason, that
Yeah.
shit always does end up somehow working out. Like I have been in some down bad moments,
Yeah.
okay? Like didn't think I was gonna live past 21.
Yeah.
Um, how I'm still alive, I really truly don't fucking know. But that's fine. It just really does always like work out. And I've been trying
Yeah.
to live more in that mindset because I've noticed the more I stress out and the more I panic and freak out over it and be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, that's when shit really starts hitting the fan. If I just like breathe a little bit and I'm like, you know, I'm going to stick to the plan. I'm going to follow A,
Yep.
B, and C, get
Yep.
to X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
And somehow things shall play out. And I think that that delusion has really kept me going in the last 8 years.
But delusion is a beautiful thing, and it's what's gotten me to this point, you know, like I
Same.
genuinely, the guy from whatever at my gym, I don't know if I said this last week, but when I did talk to him, I told him the plan, like what the whole plan was with social media, how I wanted to buy my mom a house, like how many bedrooms, whatever. And he's like, oh, you want to be rich, rich? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh. And I was like, what? Like,
Well,
I'm
when you
sorry.
don't want a family and kids, what, you want me to just say like, oh, I don't have any goals or aspirations at all? Like, fuck
Well,
no.
no. And the thing is,
Also, like, I haven't suffered. Okay, I haven't suffered like 2-3 decades of my life to not reap no reward.
yeah, and the thing is like, I'm sorry, but you know what? If people sit there and they think all I can do is this is all it can be, then that's all they're ever gonna do because they won't take action steps towards getting shit done. But the reality of it is I'm sitting here in this beautiful fucking apartment. Okay, my bills are paid. I've got money in my bank. I've got savings, and everything is gonna be okay. I just don't know how long it's gonna take me to get to where I want to be. I have like a goal in mind of how many years it's gonna take, but you're right. Like things do end up having a weird way of working themselves out. 1 second. I just want to.
I should probably adjust this. I just realized this entire time my bong is just chilling in the corner.
I'm screaming. No, but here's the thing. How the fuck? Like, I would love to be on this podcast looking beautiful. But I don't know how you look the way you look. Like, I don't know if it's
What do you
like a
mean?
light that I need, but I've tried the lighting, and if it comes down to makeup, I'm sorry, it's
First off,
not
my
gonna be.
skin is so bad, girl. I literally only wear makeup because my skin is so horrible. For those of you who are
It looks.
watching, no, it's so bad. Like underneath, it's so bad. And it's because I have cystic acne and eczema because my dad gave me all of his autoimmune disorders. I would not be surprised if, like, at 33, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes just like he did. Um, but no, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, like, since we're on the Anti Filter podcast, like, I'm extremely insecure about my skin. So,
Are you?
like, yes, like extremely insecure. Like a lot of people don't know that I used to be covered in cystic acne from like head to toe, like all down my back, all down my arms, like painful cysts, like painful, and it
Ow.
would scar. And then because I have eczema and it's
Mhm.
autoimmune related, when the cysts finally like break and come to like the surface, my
Yeah.
eczema then attacks it and it's like dry and my whole, yeah, it's awful. Like it's,
Ow.
yeah, it's very painful, it's very awful. But especially like in content creation, like, I mean, as you know, like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've been very fortunate to be able to like have kind of like your guidance and like your mentorship throughout this kind of process. Well, just because like I've seen a lot of the work you've had to put in, and I've been very like clear
Mhm.
from the day one that like I don't have the work ethic for that.
I don't
I've
think
been
that's like no, I don't think that's the case. I think the problem is a lot of people are not willing, and I'm not saying this about you, but I'm
yeah.
just saying in general, I think a lot of people are not willing to go all in on their dream.
Well, and I was gonna say too, like the kind of what I was even saying, like you let your fears hold you back.
Yeah,
Like, and I
we
think
all
that's one
do.
thing that's very like admirable about you though, is like you don't like care in like the most beautiful like way, because like, you know, someone could get on your Instagram and be like, oh, it looks like you haven't lifted ever.
Yeah,
And the reality of it is we all know, like, if you're in the fitness industry, you can take one look at you and know that you lift. Like,
yeah,
anybody who actually is experienced in the fitness
yeah,
field and like knows what they're actually looking at and doesn't just watch it on
yeah,
social media.
yeah,
Like, because hear me out, you saying that just pins the fact that you've only watched people on social media.
yeah,
Because anybody who lives in real life, anybody who is in the gym community, like, you know exactly what a posed versus relaxed versus
yeah,
someone lifting 3 to 4 years versus someone lifting 10 to 12. Like, it's
yeah.
not, it's very easy to pinpoint it out
And they
versus
also don't understand the cutting and the bulking. They don't understand
no.
like that you have to, if you want to put on size, you have to get fluffy. And you know what?
I
That's
think
not
the
my
other thing
fucking.
too is we're recovering girlies from like, I want to be thin. I want to be thin. I want to be thin. So like, of course, I'm like not starting from a huge jacked place. I'm starting from bare bottom bones of like just skin, a little bit of visceral fat and bone. Oh no.
It's just, it's not my fucking problem. I really don't care. But yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, so many people, and I have a friend, and he goes through this like weird cycle of doing well versus not doing well. And when he's not doing well, we talk, and when he's doing well, we don't talk. That's pretty telling. But anyway, whatever. He's very like locked in when he's doing well, and he doesn't talk to anybody. He shuts everybody out. But I remember him saying to me, he's like, one thing that I do really love and value about you is that like you will not care if you're broke as fuck. You'll just do whatever you have to do in the pursuit of your dream. And I remember when I first was doing content creation for a bit, I lost my job. I started like doing Uber and Ubering people. It was not my favorite. I did not do it a lot, like, because I started
Like,
coaching pretty much right after. But like, that's the thing. I think a lot of people are just so scared to do things that they like end up just living their lives and like doing things that they hate with people that they don't love, being married to people that they really just like don't like. And it's so sad, and that could never be me. Sorry, no. I don't like that. It's just I don't know why people spend their whole lives doing things that they just like don't want to do. I get it. I know why.
I
I
think I think it's like a double-edged sword because I feel like that's kind of like the narrative that's pushed on us, like from a society standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Like we're
yeah,
all taught that you go to school for 2 decades, you get a fucking degree, and
yep,
then you work your life away. And I feel like
yeah,
there's so many religious texts. There's so many different like texts that talk about how dangerous, how deadly, how terrible that mindset is because you forget the whole reason our existence is like why we even exist, and that's just to fucking exist. Like you're
yeah,
here to just live. You're here to just enjoy. You're here to experience. And when you find people like you who are so in touch and in tune with that, it really is one of the most like beautiful experiences that like you can have. Like even like you said, like I don't know how you like put makeup on for the podcast. Yeah, you want to know why? It's because I'm really fucking insecure. Well, I feel really insecure about my skin right now, and I don't have the balls to just post it on the internet because I would not be able to mentally withstand someone commenting on my
well,
acne.
like, I think, I think there are two things that I can attribute to that. One, my dad, who literally has been wearing like the same sweatpants for 30 years with stains on them. And two, being autistic. I had a revelation the other day where I was like, am I just free the nipple, or am I literally just autistic overstimulated and that's why I'm not wearing a bra? Am I one of those weird autistic bitches who just doesn't wear bras, or do I have nice enough tits? Can I actually get away with this? And then I
It's
was
both.
like, well, yes, it's both.
It is in
But
fact both.
it is both. I am hot, I have great tits, and I'm also autistic and overstimulated. But it's funny because disabilities are disabling. I saw a video of this girl being like, don't you hate when your disability starts disabling you? You're autistic, and all of a sudden one day you have a disability. And it's funny because the thing I have the ability to push through depression, anxiety, ADHD. Like, I've instilled that within myself for the past 3 years within training. Like, I'll go to the gym. I'll go to the gym no matter what. Like, even if my life is in shambles, if I'm not eating on plan, which, I don't a lot, but I am right now, slay to me. I'm better than everybody. Um
That's how it feels though.
better than everybody, and by everybody I mean past versions of myself where I was not eating on plan. Oh shit, I forgot. Can you pull me back? What was I saying?
But we were talking we were talking about
This is so
oh,
ADHD.
you were talking giving the reasons why you feel like you just like that it's more normalized for you to not give a fuck. And
Oh,
then we ended up on the subject of your tits and then
here's the problem. Here's the problem with disabilities being disabling is that, like, I go online all the time. People say, "Oh, autism's not a disability." It is until it's not. It's not, except for the fact that when my pinky toe and my fourth toe touch, it freaks me out. It is,
yeah.
except for the fact that when I'm fine to go to the gym when I'm depressed, when I'm suicidal, when I want to die. But if I'm overstimulated and my clothing is upsetting me, the noise is upsetting me, like, that's when it's really challenging, because I
Yeah.
can push through sadness. Can I push through overstimulation? It's very hard, and it usually ends up biting me in the ass. But I don't know if it's Okay, so while my mom was here, we were at a cottage, and while I was at the cottage, I was like, "What the fuck am I doing? Like, nothing is working." I was literally sitting there suicidal. I was literally staring at the water. Went into a verbal shutdown. Verbal shutdown is what everybody describes as nonverbal. Realized that that's the wrong term.
Yeah.
Verbal shutdown. I'm sitting there. My mom is like, touching my hair, and I'm thinking, okay, like, how do I kill myself? I'm like, I don't want to like make a mess. This is so woman of me,
Yeah.
to be like, I don't want to make a mess. And then I was like, well, I can't just like go and like tie a rock to myself and like drown myself, because then they're going to be sweeping the river, and then the cottage is going to be ruined for her childhood best friend and their whole family. And it's just like, I'm trying to figure it out. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to up my meds. I don't have a psychiatrist. I get my meds from my mom in Ecuador. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start taking 200, up that little dose, because I used to be on 300. I'm at 100 now. Then I went to 200. I don't know if it is because when she was here, it was hell, like mental health wise. I don't know if the meds are leveling out and it's a good dose for me to be at. I don't know whether it's that, or whether it's her moving back, or whether it's the fact that since she was here, I realized that, yeah, I am disabled and I need to like learn how to accommodate myself more, because I recently in the past month since she's been gone, I have started to actually accommodate myself and realize what my limitations are. And instead of sitting here and just being like, I'm sad, I'm upset because I can't go to the grocery store like a normal person. Okay, that's fine. But you know what? Like right now you can't handle it. And that's okay. Like you don't need to push yourself. And also the beauty of having my best friend in the building. I literally
Yeah.
texted her. She's like, I'm walking to Food Basics. I'm like, bitch, can you get me some cottage cheese?
Yeah.
And
Well,
she did.
but that's what I was going to say too, is like, I even had to do this week myself. Like, you know how you brought up your friend who like is only ever there, like when he's down bad. I've got a friend like that too, that I've been like really fucking there for. Like,
Yeah.
it actually pains me how much I've been there for someone who has not been there for me.
Well, I'm just gonna interject in the one sense
Yep.
that maybe for some reason I love him. I'm
No, yeah.
fine with it. He's done so much for me, so that's not the same.
No,
But
yeah.
I get you though.
Yeah, like where like it basically it just ends up like you just kind of like know,
One
like
sided.
they call and you know, and like it's again, it's not a problem because I would do anything for them, and like
Yeah.
obviously like I very much value our connection,
Mm-hmm.
but I am a really bad bottler, and I will like not communicate my feelings until it's too fucking late, and I'm ready to just like call the whole relationship quits. So I basically, she had asked me, she was like, I feel like you've been really distant. And I, instead of being like, no, everything's fine, I was, and this was right before the gym too. Like I was literally at the gym in the parking lot, and she's like, I feel like you've been distant. And I was like, not the time. But I also know sending those text messages causes a lot of anxiety. So I literally just told her, like, I'm not going to lie, like I have been distant for basically very much reasons. And we had a conversation, and I was like, basically, like, these are my boundaries. Like, I'm learning that I'm very fucked up in the head, babes. Like, I'm learning that I'm very, very fucked up in the head. And I'm learning that, like, not everybody is going to be able to meet me where I'm at or do the things that I need my support group to do. And normally, I feel like when you struggle with, like, the dysregulation and the stuff that you deal with the shit that we have, people are very quick to be like, oh my God, no problem. And then it happens, and then they're like, what the fuck? And you're like, I warned you, ho. I fucking warned you. Anywho, most of the time you have these conversations, people are like, yeah, can't do that. Peace out, Girl Scout. And that's just how it goes. And she basically was like, well, what can I do? Like, is there any way we can like fix this? Is there any way we can navigate this? And I was like, well, green flag number one, you're asking me if we can fix this. And I was like, the good news is yes, because we've been friends for so long. I understand that you're a new mom. I'm not trying to take more from your life. I just want to be there for the good times too. Yep. So we ended up setting up like a weekly FaceTime. Like we're going to FaceTime once a week just to keep ourselves accountable on checking in with each other and spending like the quality time. Cause we're also like long distance friends. She lives like 3 hours away from me. So, and everything went fine. Like originally I was going into the conversation thinking I was going to like lose another friend just because it is what I need. And like, I can't stop like living my life without limitations. And what I mean by that is like, I got to start recognizing that this is who I am. There's no shame about it. There's nothing wrong with it. And I have to like set the boundaries and be like, I love myself enough to know that I need people in that, like in my life like that.
Yeah.
Not people who are going to like make the dysregulation worse.
Well, I had a similar kind of thing with my friend this past week, the one who lives here. I love her. But I had told her a few weeks ago, like, she was complaining about her boyfriend so much. And it was literally just like, it was bugging the fuck out of me. It got to a point where I just had to like stop answering her. She was pissing me the fuck off so much. And this week I went up to the apartment and she was talking to me about her boyfriend. And I literally said to her, I just said point blank, I was like, bitch, I don't want to fucking hear about this anymore. Like, you need to stop talking about this tonight. If I fucking have to hear about you not sleeping because your boyfriend keeps ripping off his CPAP in the middle of the night, I swear to God, I am going to be a homicidal. I was like, I love you. You need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
She texted me this like last night, and she was like, I'm so sorry I've been annoying recently. I'm like, have you met me? I'm the most annoying person ever. Like, it's okay. I think it's hard to when, you know, you constantly give people advice. That's good advice. You know, they need to take it and they don't take it. It's hard. Also, you know, when you are somebody who is, and I'm speaking from like personal experience, I don't even know what I would be like in a relationship now, but it's very hard navigating new relationships as somebody who's endured lots of trauma, lots of abuse from previous partners. And it's just, it's scary being able to kind of like communicate with your partner effectively when you're kind of just in fight or flight. But yeah, I mean, there are some people that I think are just need to go. And that is also the reality of being very BPD, right? Like, we like to peace out Girl Scout, as you like to say, before people peace out Girl Scout on us. And it's very interesting when you set boundaries. It's very telling. I love setting a boundary. It's a scary thing, but it's also great because it really quickly shows you if you want to keep somebody around or not. Because if you present them with something that it just makes a lot of sense, it's very logical, and they kind of like go off, that's when you know that you can't at the end of the day communicate with somebody effectively. Like, you're not getting your needs met, they're not getting their needs met, but you're also just like having two very different conversations. And it's very hard also to set boundaries with somebody who, and I'm not saying this about my friend who lives in the building, but it's very hard to like, I think it's not very hard. I think it's very hard to have a relationship with somebody and a friendship with somebody whose self-esteem is very low. Like, because it's constantly about how they look and how they feel insecure, and it's like you can tell them a million times you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, but they don't believe it. And that is one thing that I do actually appreciate about myself. Like, I also, like, sensory wise, I'm fucking hot. Like, when I go to the gym, I would love to be a girly that just like wears sweatpants and like a tight top, loose pants, or loose top, tight pants, or loose everywhere. Because when I feel hottest, I'm dressed like a fucking dyke. I'm wearing fucking all men's clothing. That's when I feel hot. But the reality of it is that I get too physically hot, like too warm temperature wise. So I have to pretty much train like as close to naked as possible. And I wish that I didn't, because sometimes I don't look that great. But that is one thing that I do like about myself, is visually, I really don't care. I'll look like a crackhead. I'll go out and I will look like a crackhead. And honestly, I'm fine with that, because I know at the end of the day, there's like literally maybe like once a year where I will get dressed up, look cute, and go on a patio, and I'll know that I am that bitch in that moment. And that's all I need. I just need 1 3-hour window once a year where I step onto a patio. I'm extremely overstimulated, but I know that I'm that bitch because I'm hot as shit.
Facts. I will say too that I feel like a self-esteem is like it's like a roller coaster concept throughout your whole life. Like, when you're a kid, you don't give a fuck, right? Like, you don't give a damn how you look or what you're dressed. Like, I was wearing the most outlandish shit when I was young. And then you get bullied for the first time. And that shit really puts things into perspective. But regardless, like, over time, you know, I have like moments of high self-esteem, moments of low self-esteem. At the end of the day, I still know I'm that bitch. But I think, like I said, like, putting limitations on shit. Like, I'm not gonna do certain things to myself that I know are not gonna be good for me, in the sense of like relationships. Or if for example, like, I'll make a lot of content and I will not post it. And I do this because I'm not ready to talk about it with people that I don't know yet.
Got it.
Like, I have to work myself up there. And I do that with friends too. I think I had one friend, she was like, yeah, you'll like say something really vague. And then like over like weeks, you'll like slowly delve into it. And then like by like the end of 3 weeks, you're like, yeah, well, when like my ex cheated on me with this bitch, and then I found out because there was a sex pill wrapper in the trash can, and it was the day after I put my dog down. And they're like, so that's what you meant by like when someone betrays you 3 weeks ago. Like, yeah, that would be it.
No.
But that's also too because I feel like when you grow up as a woman dealing with a lot of
Oh.
dysregulation, whether it's autism, ADHD,
Mhm.
BPD, PT, whatever form of dysregulation it is, meaning like triggered overstimulation, mood wonkiness. When you're a woman and you deal with those things, I feel like you half of your life have experienced being gaslit
Oh,
about your
yeah.
emotions, about your boundaries, about
Yeah.
how you feel. And the end of the day, if my boundary is absolutely absurd, if I'm like, hey, I hate your beard and I need you to shave it the fuck off if you're gonna want to date me. And he's like, okay, kind of love my beard. Why do you hate my beard? And I'm like, I hate the way it feels when we kiss. And he does not shave his fucking beard. He's just not the man for me. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's absurd and I know it's crazy and I know it doesn't
No,
make any
I don't
sense.
think so.
But
You can
like,
get contact dermatitis from a beard, bitch.
you can get what?
I think contact dermatitis.
You can get dry skin from someone's crusty, dusty beard.
And you know what? And we do. And for what? For why? Like, I don't understand why we're doing all this stuff. We're shaving every inch of our body so that we feel like a fucking naked child in the bed next to our man. Because at the end of the day, men love to fuck children.
It's
They do. It's fact.
yeah,
That
it's
is.
completely so random. But have you been watching all this Diddy shit
Oh,
go
and you
down?
know what?
I have been wilding.
It pisses me. Oh, I'm gonna say two things. One,
Wilding.
it pisses me off people making videos about the baby oil because you don't understand. Like, this is so traumatic for some people.
It's so
And
fucked.
like, I love a rape joke. I'll joke about rape all the time. My own rape I'll joke about, and I'll say, yeah, well, you know what? I was raped. It's just because I was so hot. You know, that's different. But there's also, I don't know if you're on this side of TikTok relating to the Diddy shit, but are you on Diddy Beyonce conspiracy TikTok? Because I am.
Yes,
And
I
the way,
am.
no, because here's the
I
thing.
have been on this conspiracy for years. I've been on it.
Okay,
I've been on it since Kanye was like, if I disappear, it's not me type vibe.
I need to say something
Yeah.
very serious. I have been thinking for years, and I didn't want to come off. I was like, I didn't want to come off as racist. But it's not racist. I just was confused because people all the time in their like acceptance speeches were always crying and being like,
Beyonce.
I just wanted to thank Beyonce. I just wanted to thank Beyonce. And I was like, am I racist? Or is she just like, what's so I had to like really look inwards. I'm like, Anna, am I anti-black? Like, what's going on? And it's just like, no, I just because like here's the
You're
thing, like
confused.
if Rihanna went up there and she was like, no, Beyonce, I'd be like, no, like I've always when people have been like Beyonce or sorry, Rihanna or Beyonce, I've always been like, well, Rihanna, like I know that she's done some pretty like cool shit in her lifetime, but like I don't sit here on the way to the gym listening to Beyonce. I
Yeah.
listen to Rihanna and the thing they said that so if you guys aren't familiar, if you're listening, there's basically this conspiracy that's going around on TikTok that people in their acceptance speeches are making it about Beyonce for fear that they'll have P Diddy she'll have P Diddy kill you allegedly that's what we're seeing on TikTok.
Yes.
And I've always because and with the whole Taylor Swift thing
Well,
there's
this
this
is what.
huh
Because I was gonna say the whole like idea that Beyonce and Jay-Z have been the head of the Illuminati,
oh we
specifically
know
in the like music industry, celebrities has been a thing for a very long time.
yes
And I was gonna say that, I could understand if it was like other women in her genre that were like, thank you for mentoring me, thank you
yeah
for guiding me. But it is motherfuckers across genres. I'm talking like Harry Styles has been like, Beyonce deserved this award. Adele broke her Grammy.
I know
Like, so these people, like, there is something that they're terrified of. I don't know if it's killing,
yeah
but go ahead. Anyways, I wanted to say that too, like, because I did also see that TikTok where it was like Kanye was saving Taylor.
Taylor Swift
Yes,
yes yeah by
because he
because
didn't know about it.
yeah and you're like you know what like though it
It
kind of
adds up.
it does add up because I'm thinking, I'm like, every time I'd see this, I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, am I just not seeing what everybody else is
Mhm.
seeing with Beyonce? Like, what is so great about her? Like, she's had some
Yeah,
bangers, sure. For everybody to go up there and when it's their moment, their time, where they're like celebrating years of hard work, they're always like, but Beyonce is a titan of industry and I wouldn't be where I am and my friends listen to you and blah blah blah
I
blah.
think
She's been
well,
losing followers like a motherfucker.
the other thing too is like, okay, and I know that there is like a whole crew of queen bees, I think they call them, as her like fan group,
Okay.
but I have really never met. I met like one girl in my entire lifetime who was like diehard Beyonce fan.
Yeah.
Everyone else I've ever met, like they're just like, yeah, Beyonce, slay, love her, she's a
Yeah.
queen, like we
Yeah.
love her. But it wasn't like Beyonce 24. Like we listen to Beyonce when we get ready, we listen
Yeah.
to Beyonce on the way to the club, on the way home from the club, Beyonce. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like nobody I've never met. Maybe like one girl, and like I said, like she kind of does give kind of weird vibes, and she probably believes it herself. Like I would not see her being like I could so see her believing the conspiracy and being like, but that's my queen, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
No.
What the
She's a
fuck is
cult
going
leader
on?
for sure. I mean, being on conspiracy theory TikTok is so wild because
It is.
it does make sense.
It
It does
does. It
make sense.
always adds up.
It does add up. But you know what? I'm tired of this shit blacking the fuck out. On this
Same.
podcast, we've recorded it 3 separate times, like 3 separate installments because it keeps blacking out. I also don't know what's going on. I injured myself getting up from the toilet the other day, and that is on probably me having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Because apparently I think I'm moving my body in ways that it's not meant to move, but I don't realize it. I don't know. All I know to be true is that I'm in a fuckload of pain. I need to go procure my cottage cheese from 3 floors above. And I also need to film the reaction of, I'm hoping she'll let me put it on the internet, of me telling her that I got $150 for a video of me farting.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sounds like a good day. You're back. Is it
My
the kind that
my
takes you back
Norman, my
away?
Norman is snoring and he's going, and I'm
It's
just
so
like, I
cute.
just want to fucking swallow you whole. I want to bite you. I want to bite your ears off.
That's how I feel.
He's looking at me. He's looking at me. He knows what's coming. I'm about to bite his fucking ear.
I took this picture of my dog while we were recording. He's just enjoying. Wait, hello. He's just enjoying the view.
Ugh, what an angelic, fucking beautiful, beautiful boy.
I know.
Okay. Well, we've covered a lot. We've covered my vaginal orifices as we always do. We've covered hitchhiking. We've covered crying in the
Kidding?
car. Dead Dad Club. So many fun little things. If you guys want to hear about anything specific, please let us know. If you like this podcast, Slay, take 20 seconds. Please give us a 5-star rating. Scroll up to the dots, 20 seconds, hit the dots, rate the podcast. Also follow it. If you hated it, that's weird. Why are you listening to something you hate right till the end? But anyway, send it to somebody that you also hate in order to spite them. And sorry for the wild inconsistencies at the end of the day with posting these at the end of the day. Shannon and I are very mentally ill and we're kind of just doing our best. But we hope you have a fabulous week and we love you so much. And that's it, I guess.
We'll see you next week, we think.
All right. Love you guys. Maybe we'll be too mentally ill. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.